council meeting first started, the room was packed with lots of people, many of them holding signs against water fluoridation. But as the crowd got louder, it also got smaller as security escorted nearly a dozen people out of the room.
Been poisoned as well, they have no idea. It's time for people to wake up to fluoride that's in the water, because all of us are affected by this, okay? All you cops out there, all of you politicians, all that are protecting this.
We want to get back to Colette Whelan. She is following the vote to fluoridate Portland's water.
Get your signs just for a minute. Good. The vote is coming.
2 years to make a choice, Portland.
Think before you drink. Wait, don't swallow. Think before you drink. Wait, don't swallow. Think before you drink. Wait, don't swallow.
A lot of people said this couldn't be done, that we couldn't collect 20,000 signatures in 30 days. We collected twice that number, and we collected it, and we're turning them in a day early. Yeah!
Let me assure you that absolutely nothing that I'm going to tell you is exaggerated, is interpolated, or is imagined. Everything I'm going to tell you is documented.
Everything you ever wanted to know about fluoride is covered in this exclusive PrisonPlanet.tv interview with Dr. Paul Connett, co-author of The Case Against Fluoride. He covers the history of fluoridation, the collusion of major industries to put certified toxic waste into your drinking water, why the government agencies refuse to conduct scientific studies, and how he and others across North America are trying to end this barbaric practice. You will never look at tap water the same way again.
Hello, I'm Dr. Bill Osmondson. I'm a general and cosmetic dentist and have been a dentist for 30 years. Before that, I received a master's in public health in nutrition and health education. For the first 25 years of practice, I promoted water fluoridation aggressively. I thought I saw the benefits. It wasn't until I actually looked at the information myself and sat down and looked at the different government agencies and the different reports and the studies that I began to realize that fluoridation was a problem.
See, fluoride builds up. It doesn't leave the body. It sticks. It goes to your organs and bones, and it ends up killing the horses and cows. You can go to YouTube and just type in horses and cows sick from fluoride, pigs sick from fluoride, chickens sick from, and you'll see local newscasts where they go, yeah, we've been giving them fluoride for 6 months in the water, and they're all dying. Their hair falls out. They get bone fractures. They get cancer. But this is what we drink. And you say, well, I don't drink fluoridated water. I drink purified water. When you take a bath or shower, you absorb through your skin.
Hello, my name is Paul Connett, Professor Paul Connett. I taught chemistry for 23 years at St. Lawrence University in Canton, New York. My specialty was environmental chemistry and toxicology. Before that, I got my PhD in chemistry from Dartmouth and my undergraduate degree from Cambridge University in England. For 25 years, I was very much involved with waste management. 14 years ago, my wife persuaded me to get involved in the fluoridation debate. I didn't want to because I was very busy with these teaching chemistry and waste management. But my wife is very persuasive, and I looked at it. Up to that point, I thought the people opposed to fluoridation were a bunch of wackos. But when I started reading the literature, I was shocked and embarrassed. Embarrassed because I'd been persuaded that people opposed to fluoridation were a little strange, and shocked because some of the information there is extremely disturbing.
Professor Shashila is one of the world's leading experts on fluoride. Her own extensive research along with 70 years of data in India, backs up what she's saying, and it's most disturbing.
I would consider a pregnant mother taking fluoride-contaminated products, I'm using the word products, which includes water, toothpaste, black tea, processed food products which has fluoride.
Any liquid?
Anything. Where her urinary fluoride is high, she is going to cause a lot of damage to the fetus, the growing embryo, the infant which is going to be born.
The American Dental Association warns against using fluoridated water to mix baby formula.
I think the most important thing to recognize about fluoride is that it's extremely toxic. It is very active biologically, interfering with many basic biochemical processes, enzymes, G proteins, hydrogen bonds, and so on. So it shouldn't surprise us that there's a wide range of health effects that are attributed to fluoride. But the bottom line is that fluoride is extremely active biologically, that the first opponents of fluoridation going back to the 1950s were biochemists, including scientists like James Sumner, who won a Nobel Prize for enzyme chemistry. And incidentally, there is no doubt that fluoride damages health, because millions of people in India, China, and parts of Africa have had their health ruined by fluoride. The people have been crippled by fluoride.
You're supposed to get medical help right away. You're supposed to contact your poison control center. So they obviously think it's bad enough that you're not supposed to swallow this. And it even says on here, directions, do not swallow. To minimize swallowing, use a pea-sized amount in children under 6. And you're supposed to supervise your child when they use this, because you're not supposed to have that much. So, okay, so how come this is okay, right? But 8 glasses of this, which you're told to drink every day if you have municipal water, is fine? What is the logic of that? I'm
But
curious.
before I get into the health effects, let me explain my first concern, which remains my top concern. The level of fluoride in mother's milk, mother's breast milk, baby's first meal, is extremely low. It's 0.004 parts per million. That means a bottle-fed baby in a fluoridated community in the United States, where we fluoridate the water at 1 part per million, is getting 250 times higher dose of fluoride than a breastfed baby. And that is extremely
Kangaroos
disturbing.
Poisoned by fluoride. The Environmental Protection Authority says fluoride from Alcoa's aluminum smelter at Portland is making kangaroos sick. Well, why not just put it in the water supply? Oh, that's what you do. It's the byproduct from the purification process of aluminum manufacturing and the byproduct of fertilizer manufacturing, and you just dump it in our water.
Let me go through the list of health concerns. Some of them are more certain than others. Let me begin with the certain one. Dental fluorosis. Fluoride causes a discoloration, mottling of the tooth enamel. Our attitude is that when you see this dental fluorosis, it means the child has been overexposed to fluoride, and the question is, what other tissues have been affected? So let's start with the bone, because the teeth are a window into the bone. In fact, the teeth actually grow out of the jawbone, and by the time the permanent teeth have come out, the jawbone has been loaded up with fluoride. And so if you can see the damage to the growing tooth cells, what did the fluoride do to the growing bone cells during this 8, 9, 10 period? In fact, the first study that was published on this in '55 indicated that the children in the fluoridated community, which was Newburgh, New York, had twice as much cortical bone defects as the children in the non-fluoridated community.
One of the things that concerns me is water fluoridation for infants. The American Dental Association and Center for Disease Control recommend that infants not receive water for drinking nor for making their formula. It's 250 times more concentrated in fluoride than mother's milk. We shouldn't fluoridate water and harm our most vulnerable. The next thing I looked at was dental fluorosis. These are the white and brown spots on the teeth. The only thing that causes dental fluorosis is fluoride. too much fluoride ingested, usually during the developing years, birth to about 8 years of age. When I see people coming in to have treatment for dental fluorosis, I mention to them that they have had too much fluoride. And this is an indication that the rest of their body has probably had too much fluoride also, their bones and in the rest of their organs. Damage from dental fluorosis is not disputed. Everyone agrees that too much fluoride can cause dental fluorosis.
The FDA does regulate toothpaste. And if you look at the back of a tube of toothpaste, a fluoridated toothpaste, it says only use a small pea-sized amount. And then it says, this is the FDA warning, if more than recommended amounts of toothpaste are accidentally swallowed, then get medical help or contact a poison control center. Well, let's do a little bit of arithmetic. A pea-sized amount of fluoridated toothpaste contains about 1/4 of a milligram of fluoride.
The first things I did is I looked at my tube of toothpaste. It says drug facts. I know it's a drug. If I were to give it to you, it'd have to be a prescription. That's for swallowing. When it comes to toothpaste, it also says don't swallow. And if you do swallow, contact a poison control center. Well, the amount of fluoride that they're talking about is a pea-sized amount of fluoride. You probably don't see that in advertisements, a pea-sized amount of fluoride. Usually when I see an advertisement, it looks more like a Dairy Queen ice cream cone. That amount is 1/4 milligram of fluoride. Well, that's the same amount of fluoride as what we find in 8 ounces of water. 1/4 milligram of fluoride, 1/4 milligram of fluoride. Don't swallow. If you do, call the Poison Control Center.
Okay, Monty Python, come in. Oh, I think you should put a notice over the tap. Don't swallow this water. And if you drink more than 1 glass of water, contact a poison center immediately. It is incredible. It's laughable.
It is sold in supermarkets. This is purified, distilled water with 1 part per million of sodium fluoride added to it. This is a travesty. This is absolutely criminal behavior by both the bottlers of this water as well as those who sell it.
And the answer to all those questions from a pharmacist is no, 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 and no. It's a lousy practice. It should never have started. It should be ended as soon as possible. And whilst we're at it, that we should get banned off the face of the earth, these ridiculous products, which is so-called nursery water, designed to give to babies, and they put fluoride in it. So if you give your baby this, you're giving that baby 250 times more fluoride than that baby would get from mother's milk. You are, in essence, saying that Mother Nature screwed up on baby's first meal if you use this. Secondly, the Center of Disease Control in 1999 conceded that the major benefits of fluoride, if they exist, is topical. It works on the outside of the tooth, not from inside the body. So this is totally useless. Yeah, this is designed for the baby before their teeth have erupted. It doesn't touch their teeth. There's no topical benefit. There's only harm. There's only harm. It's utterly irresponsible, and I don't understand why it is that the Food and Drug Administration is not stepping in to ban this. This is unacceptable. Well, what also parallels aging, of course, is the number of years you spent in a fluoridated community. 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, eventually 60, 70, and so on. The next concern is as the fluoride continues to build up in the bone, and I should say that up to 50% of all the fluoride that we take in each day accumulates in the bone. The fluoride is bioaccumulative. The bones get more brittle.
And what the track record of the Mellon Institute was. The Mellon Institute was a leading defender of asbestos for the asbestos industry. You know, today, industry are facing a tidal wave, a crippling tidal wave of lawsuits for people who have had their health damaged, who've been killed by asbestos. Well, for generations, the Mellon Institute produced research that said that mesothelioma was caused by something other than asbestos. That's how you have to understand the fluoride issue. Industry was concerned about fluoride pollution and about lawsuits of a similar magnitude for fluoride pollution. So it's no coincidence that the Mellon Institute makes the first suggestion that fluoride be added to public water supplies.
The next thing I wanted to look at was benefits. What are the benefits of it? I've heard reports of 20 to 40%, 60%, 80% tooth reduction with water fluoridation. So what is the benefit of water fluoridation? And I had a close look at several factors. One, comparing different countries of the world, we can see that no matter what we do on fluoridation, whether the country fluoridates or no fluoride at all, decay is reduced the same amount in all countries. We can compare states in the United States. We can see on a graph that as they're plotted in order of increased amount of fluoridation in the state, fluoridation doesn't make any difference. We have the same amount of good health in the states regardless of their fluoridation. Same thing for counties and other locations. That was disturbing to me. If there's no benefit, well, why are we fluoridating?
Then you have to ask the question, well, do the benefits outweigh the risks? So we got all those risks that I went through. We put those in one scale pan. Now let's have a look at the benefits. Well, first of all, you cannot find a difference in tooth decay today between fluoridated countries and non-fluoridated countries, between fluoridated states and non-fluoridated states, and a recent study in New York between fluoridated counties and non-fluoridated counties. Now, my major concern is not the bones, although I think that's significant. My major concern is the brain, because when the baby is born, the blood-brain barrier is not fully formed. We think the blood-brain barrier keeps fluoride out of the brain most of the time, but for the first half year of the baby's life, the fluoride can get into the brain. And this is not the time, in my view, and the view of many other scientists, that a baby should be exposed to fluoride at 250 times the level in mother's milk. There have now been over 100 animal studies which shows that fluoride damages the brain. There have also been 23 IQ studies, most of them from China, but one from India, one from Iran, and one from Mexico, which show an association between moderate exposure to fluoride and lowered IQ in children.
Most European countries do not fluoridate. Austria, Belgium, the Netherlands, France, Germany, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Iceland, Italy, Greece, Portugal. The overwhelming number of countries in the world do not fluoridate, and guess what? Their teeth are just as good, if not better, than ours. But first, we consume it every day with the reassurance from our health authorities that it is doing us good. The truth is, fluoride is a poison, and adding it to our drinking water is an evolving social experiment started 40 years ago. Now one of the world's top fluoride experts has issued a grim warning about what it could be doing to our health, and that of unborn children. Yet as Frank Pengello reports, you'll get a different spin from dentists and health bureaucrats.